The summer I learned to listen to the river. We were 12 and the world lay ahead like a wide sun-warmed field. That year we stayed with Aunt Mabel in a town where the river curled through the trees like a held breath. The house smelled of cotton and lemon, of bread cooling on a wire rack, and the way the kettle gave its little sigh when it found its boiling joy. I slept in a room where the ceiling fan hummed and teased the heat into dancing shadows on the plaster. Outside, the lilacs pressed their purple lips to the air, and the street came alive with a chorus of shoes on pavement and a distant whistle from the train that did nothing but remind us we were not alone in the world. My friend and neighbour, Lina, was my shadow's shadow that summer, a girl with freckles like constellations and a laugh that could light a whole hillside. We'd steal away after lunch, when the sun grew heavy on the slate roofs and the world seemed to pause, listening for something it couldn't quite name. We walked to the bend where the river widened and wore its blues and greens like a patient secret. The air there tasted of mud, riverweed, and something sweet that grew from the sun itself. The river had a way of listening back to us, if we asked politely enough. We tried that first afternoon, leaning over the bank with our legs dangling, the water lapping at our ankles as if it were unsure whether to pull us in or keep us upright. It was so quiet in those hours. No car engines, no neighbours calling from porches, only birds that sang with a seriousness I don't hear in city songs anymore. The boatman's whistle from a far-off pier drifted like a memory of a song you once knew and forgot how to finish. The river held its breath, and we learned to hold ours too. We collected smooth stones, rounded by years of water and patience, and we sat on a fallen tree that had split like a book opened to a secret page. Lina's hand found mine, not in a dramatic moment, but as a natural agreement between two restless souls that summers are for listening first. The bank released a scent cool damp earth, the faint tang of iron in the soil, and something green and almost impossible to name, the lush smell of leaves after rain. Lina told a story she had saved for this river, a tale about a girl who travelled on a boat made of bread crusts and sailed toward the horizon to learn what mercy sounded like when spoken by the sky. I added a companion tale of a boy who kept his promises like he kept a pocket full of pebbles, each one a small, honest thing he could hold on to when the world grew heavy. We spoke of small truths, and the river took them in, not chewing, but savouring, as if a patient mother might taste every word before letting it go again. That first afternoon the current tugged at the line we'd tied to a snag under the water's surface, and a fish, the kind that keeps to the shadows, glinting briefly like a coin when the sun strikes it, tilted the line and disappeared. We laughed at the suddenness of it, but not the way the laughter felt, as if the sound itself were a door we were opening for the first time. We learned to read all the tiny signs, the way the water gurgled when a breeze drifted by, the way the reeds along the bank bowed as if acknowledging our presence, the way Lina's cheeks flushed pink when she confessed she was terrified of the water's depth, even as she wanted to go deeper. The river, indifferent yet not cruel, carried us along with a patient, indifferent grace. Evenings brought a ritual of return. We would rinse the day's dust from our hands in a bucket of cool water, then wander into Aunt Mabel's kitchen to soak our tired feet and listen to the old radio crackle with a hymn that sounded like a memory of rain. The house would fill with the scent of bread and something sweet from a bowl of peaches Aunt Mabel set on the table, the fruit warmed by the sun and glistening with a sugar that only summer can give. We ate with the adults at a table that seemed too long for the two of us, and the adults spoke in a language of kindness and problem-solving that felt like a blanket you could pull around your shoulders when the night grew cooler. In one of those evenings, a moment of quiet discovery settled on me, and it did not happen with fireworks or fanfare. It happened with the soft click of a window latch, the way Lina's voice dropped to a whisper as she said, "Do you hear it?" And I did hear it. The river's hush, the rustle of the leaves outside, the distant squeak of a door, the almost invisible murmur of the stories we told to soothe one another. We learned that listening held the world together in a way talking could not. Listening kept us honest about what mattered. The small, stubborn truths that arrive with summer and cling to your heart long after the season has changed. That summer, I learned to read the river's moods the way an old person reads a child's face, watchful, patient, and ready to smile at the smallest sign of trust. When the days grew long and the river carried the sun to the far bank, Lina and I discovered a hollow log that echoed when spoken to, a natural echo chamber in which we left behind our loud opinions and found the gentler, more lasting language of memories. We spoke softly about the future, as if it would be kind to us if we asked it nicely enough. The future, of course, did not always oblige, but in those moments it felt possible, and that was enough to buoy us through the rest of the summer. I left that season convinced that life was made of these private rituals, the shared bread, the careful listening, the little promises spoken into the air and kept in the heart. The town's river that summer taught me to value patience, to measure strength not by the speed at which a thing is done, but by the endurance it requires and the gentleness with which it is pursued. It taught me that friendship is not a thunderclap, but a shield of warmth we share when we are tired. And it taught me that memory, our old, stubborn memory, can become a kind of compass that leads you home when you are lost, even many years later, to a place you have carried inside you all along. I grew up, as we do, into a person shaped in part by the quiet rituals I learned in those weeks. The habit of listening more than speaking, the discipline of noticing small, ordinary miracles, the way a spider spins a web overnight, and you only see it when the sun hits the threads just right, or how a grandmother's hands move with the ease of a song you've known since childhood. My work life and my daily life after that summer carried traces of those carry stones and that patience, that sense that the truth of a moment lies not in its drama but in its persistence. I became the kind of man who tells stories slowly, who asks questions of people's faces before asking about their names, the kind of person who believes that a single kind remark can shore a person up for days or weeks, as surely as bread fills a hungry belly. Now, in the quiet of this house that time has polished to a soft patina, I still hear the river's voice in the days that pass. It comes to me when I watch the rain fall in fine, careful sheets, tapping the window pane as if it is counting the moments of our lives. It returns when my granddaughter asks me to tell her a story, and I remember how Lina and I once spoke to water and were answered not with words, but with a steadiness that did not need to prove itself. The river's memory coexists with mine, the same memory that makes me sit with a cup of tea in the morning, the same memory that makes my hands steady enough to hold a pen and let a thought drift toward a page. Time passes as it does, with the soft, inexorable kindness of an old friend you do not want to lose, but know you must. Yet the meaning of that summer has not faded. It has settled into a quiet, persistent glow at the center of who I am. I learned to see the world as something to attend to with attention, rather than something to conquer